Bienvenidos, señoras y señores, to another episode of the Bleed Lows Podcast. This episode of the Bleed Lows Podcast is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. Everything from pro and college basketball to UFC, MMA, and more. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, game trends at BetOnline. With live betting options, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. BetOnline is truly the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, to receive your rewards. BetOnline.ag, where the game starts. And joining us on the Carne Asada is the Los Angeles Dodgers visiting clubhouse manager, Mitch Poole. Mitch is the real hero in this story. So, Mitch, ¿cómo estás? Thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, you're very welcome. My pleasure.
Here's a little backstory, guys. The reason why we wanted to have Mitch on the show. Breaking news, of course, the Dodgers have finally decided to retire Fernando Valenzuela's jersey. Now, before that announcement on FanFest, Valenzuela's jersey was never retired, but they never gave out his number. They never gave out 34. And our guest, Mitch Poole, is the reason why number 34 was never issued to anyone else. So, first question, Mitch, is why did you decide, after Valenzuela left the Dodgers, why did you decide to no longer issue 34 to anyone?
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer that the man meant a whole lot to a couple of different communities, and I felt like it was weighing on my heart anyway, because in my heart, I felt like it should be retired, and it's like unofficially, it was retired in my heart. And as long as it was on my beat, it wasn't gonna happen. Nobody was gonna wear that.
So was management aware that you weren't giving out that number?
They could tell, but nobody really questioned me about it. And it's like, I had the support of my whole staff on this one. And even Alex Torres, the guy that has my old job as the home clubhouse manager, I don't think, he wanted to do that either, because we've done this for a long time together, and so
if you would have go ahead. So if you would have left the Dodgers, Alex was ready to continue this tradition. If the Dodgers hadn't decided to retire his number, Alex was going to continue the tradition of not giving out the number.
Well, I think he's done that for the last 7 years. He hasn't done a darn thing. I don't think anybody approached him, but I know there had to be a lot of pressure out there because, the Mexican community, a lot of people that I met over the years have thanked me because it's a big deal to them, it was a big deal to me too, but it's a big deal to them. Fernando's a friend, and I had him as a player, so, no brainer.
This is why you're the hero, Mitch. You're the hero of the story, right, Alicia?
Absolutely. Thank you. And bravo, Mitch. Thank you for hanging out with us. I just want to make sure that I understand. I love what you said, that in your heart, Fernando's number 34, was not going to be given out. Okay. Secondly, I want to make sure I understand. It wasn't a direct order from upstairs, from management.
Nope.
It was, you took it upon yourself and nobody questioned you, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a hard thing to really answer because you don't want to be the reason why. I mean, there shouldn't be a reason why. It should just be done. And I'm glad it's being done, and we don't have to talk about this and be pressured with anything.
I love it. So then there wasn't a lot of information coming out from the Dodgers directly on why it was not, the number 34 was not being, we've had a lot of guests, and Juan, I pretty much, are we at 100% where every guest we've had has said Fernando's number should be retired?
100%. And we're talking about former major leaguers from opposing teams, Mitch. Dale Murphy. We asked Dale Murphy, and Dale Murphy was surprised that the jersey wasn't retired. He thought it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I think his is probably retired, over in Atlanta, right? So, but
It is.
he
And
had to face Fernando. So,
Ooh, I like that. I like that. I wanted to start with this actually because the Bleed Lows podcast, we have fun here. We keep it light. A lot of my friends and now cousins are new to the Bleed Lows podcast. They are getting the ins and outs, the nitty gritty. My co-hosts are amazing. The stats that they retain, I'm sure the stuff that you, Mitch, have had, your memories go on and on and on and on. Two things. Can you explain to those new to, say, the ins and outs of baseball, what your position actually is, like what you do? And secondly, will you be writing a memoir, a book?
I mean, I've been approached 6 times about writing books. People from Philadelphia, New York, Chicago, so Los Angeles too. But there's like this old adage. It's called whatever's said in the clubhouse stays in the clubhouse. But I think something tasteful can be done, and just have fun with it. Maybe it might be something in my future.
Interesting. And for a visiting clubhouse manager, what does that mean? What if somebody's watching right now that's in high school and is like, wait, I want that gig?
Yeah. Well, it's people think, oh, you got the easy job over there, don't you? Because you don't have to be there all the time. I go, well, we have a team that comes in, and after they come in, they're there for 3 days. We have to feed them and wash their clothes and take care of everything that they need done, even for their traveling secretary, their players, their coaches, and even their general manager. So, but it's like they'll be in for 3 days, and then on that 3rd day, they leave. And you know what that means? It means we have another team right behind them coming in that night. So if we get done with them around 11 and get them out the door, we got a team coming in. It could be 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 in the morning before they get to us, and they got to play that night. Right. So we do stuff like that. I work on the home side in spring training, and when the games start, I move over to the visiting side, and after the games are over, I come back over. So, but I'm in charge of taking care of the visitors mostly. I for 31 years was on the Dodgers side, on the home side, and for 15, 16 years, I was the equipment manager on the home side. So it's nicer for me now because I'm getting older, and the fact that I'm spending more time with my family. I don't travel you're talking about a ruthless schedule, having to travel. It's worse than the players, believe me. But you got to make sure their needs too on the road, and you also have to work with a visiting staff that is on the road already. So like the Braves have a visiting staff, they take care of us and ask me what I need, and if I have any needs, I ask them if they can do it.
Aha! And do you
plus there's loading the plane too. So
I was going to say, it's not just the clubhouse. Like you.
No.
It's like a comfort and care of the guys and the gals on the staff, and then you have to attend to like needs, right? Like this person doesn't like eat nuts, or this person's allergic, or I don't know. Well, I can just imagine.
they have dietitians now for that, but the dietitian has to come see me about supplying some of that stuff. And
right, but you said now. Imagine the things you've seen. I'm just gonna ask one more question regarding the clubhouse.
Yeah.
When we found out that the Houston Astros cheated allegedly, is there ever any extra security in the clubhouse for the visiting team because of that incident?
No, not so much.
Dang it.
You know, the thing is, we didn't really realize what was going on at that point when the Astros were here. It's guys that left the Astros and went over to the Red Sox the next year that we started to go, But like, I mean, I won't say his name because he's managing the Red Sox now, but it's like
Cora!
some of my
Yeah.
some of my
Correct.
he was. See, the thing is, Alex was one of my players too,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
took care of him when he was over here, and but yeah, it's like Korea when he came back the next time. He looked at me kind of strange, like I was going to say something, and I go, "Look, Carlos, we're going to take care of you, whatever you need done. Just don't even think about all this other stuff that's going on. We're here to do a certain job, and we're going to do it. So you need something, let me know." And then when he came back, it was kind of like, oh man, I feel a little more relaxed, you know. And I know the Dodgers fans probably don't like that, but it is my job, and
Right.
I've got to be professional to
You're
them too. And
professional.
so we're going to expect the same from their staff over there.
They better. We got a professional here, Juan, right? Absolutely.
No, I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, look, you're a better man than I am, Mitch.
Right?
I mean, if I would have run past, but you know what I admire, and it's something I never really thought about, Mitch, is the predicament that, like you said, Alex Cora is a guy that he was a player you used to work with. You have a
Right.
relationship with. We were just recently at the Justin Turner Golf, and they asked him, "Hey, have you talked to Alex Cora yet about the whole situation in 2017?" And Justin Turner said, "Hey, I used to play with Alex Cora when he started his career." So you forget about the fact that these guys have relationships, and all of a sudden something uncomfortable happens. But I
Right.
admire and respect the fact that you kept your professionalism. Just because somebody did you dirty doesn't mean that you got to do the same thing. You turn the other cheek. You're a good man. But Mitch, I wanted to ask you. There's that famous story that Manny Ramirez asked for number 34 when he came to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Was there anyone else before Manny that asked for 34 that were just completely oblivious to the fact that, hey, do you know what you're asking?
No, you know, he's only thinking one side. He's thinking about Big Poppy. That's all he's thinking about. So, you
Mm-hmm.
know, maybe he can grab Poppy's number over with the Dodgers, you know.
Yeah.
But but there was nobody else really that I know of that asked for it at that point. And it was oblivious to him. He didn't know. He doesn't know the history of the Dodgers or anything like that.
But did you tell him? Did you educate him?
Oh yeah, but the thing is, what you got to understand is he asked for other numbers too, and so we were going to give him number 28, and he kind of like, So later on, he goes, "How about 34?" And then his agent Boris called and said, "Hey, how about we're gonna win? We're gonna make him 66." And then it was calls me up after we've made all these jerseys. We got 28, we got 66, but he goes, "Hey, can we make him 99?" And I go, "Oh my god, yeah, we can make him 99." So anyway, we put his locker up. Manny gets to the ballpark. There's this hoopla over him and everything, and then he comes in, and I show him his locker, and it's number 99. He goes, "Hey, I thought it was 28." So this guy, I love him though, but he's just like all over the place. But I made your question a lot longer.
No,
No,
look,
I love it.
here's the thing, Mitch. You've seen, as Alicia had said, you should write a book because you've seen a lot of stuff. But again, to me, you just reiterated why it's important for that number to be retired, because there's generations now who never saw Valenzuela pitch. And it's important to know the story. And you had mentioned earlier, Mitch, that it was important to the Mexican American community, to Latinos. Mitch, what are you Mexican or
I live in a Mexican community.
okay? So
No, it's just, um, God, sometimes I think so, but
Yeah.
no, I was the thing is, I was adopted.
oh,
So
really?
yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
Well, no,
but
I mean, I think the fact that you recognized how important it was to a community in the history, retiring that number is important because we get to tell this story again. And if we don't tell this story, it's very easily forgotten, right, Mitch?
right, yeah, and the thing is, there's been guys that I could see, like homies. Okay, they
Uh-huh.
come from Los Angeles and they show up in Florida for spring training, or in Arizona, and there's this group of guys that I wouldn't just let anybody in the clubhouse, but everybody had left, and I felt like, you know what, I'm going to bring these guys in and I'm going to let them check it out. And turns out they're friends for life now. And it's like, this was years ago when we first went to Arizona. And, but I just wanted to show them what it was like in our clubhouse. And it meant so much to them. And, but yeah, I mean, everybody's my homie. So
I love it.
Everybody's a homie. All right, we're gonna let you go. There's a couple of things that we have what we like to, since you have a lot of homies. This is a segment that we call our kickback questions. We call this show the Carne Asada, Mitch, because we just like to sit around, hang around, talk about baseball, right? So everything's
right.
cool. So it's kind of like a little speed round, but a couple of questions here to end the show. There's a lot of belief that by retiring Valenzuela's jersey, the Dodgers are opening up a can of worms because people are going to be like, well, now you got to retire Steve Garvey's number, or you got to retire Ron Say, or there's other people. But Valenzuela is clearly an exception. As much as everybody loves Mr. Stop Short, Steve Garvey,
Yeah.
I mean, he's not Valenzuela, right, Mitch?
No, he's not. Nobody is. But I made him upset when I gave out his number at one time. So, but that's okay. I mean, if I had to make everybody happy for their own reason, man, I'd be in trouble, wouldn't I?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but I mean, when people say, I mean, do you think there's going to be a can of worms? Are more people going to
No,
start saying, "Hey, you got to retire"?
no, I don't think so. I really don't think so.
All right. You mentioned that Manny was going to get number 28. This is just from me because I'm a huge Pedro Guerrero fan.
Yeah,
How
me too.
dare you? How dare you give out
Right.
number 28, man? Why
Well,
couldn't you do the same for the Dominican dandy?
oh man, he was an amazing guy too. But well, I mean, we kind of felt like he was a big brute of a guy, uh, and he was a slugger, and so was Pedro. Pedro was our slugger back in '85, and until he got hurt, when he slid into third base in spring training and kind of put him out for the year. But that guy was a stud, and I just was on the realm of thinking that so is Manny Ramirez, man. This guy could carry us. So, but yeah, that's where that all went.
So when you give out numbers, do you do that? Do you think to yourself, who does this guy remind me of? And that's the number. That's the idea that you get to give him a number.
Well, there's a lot of criteria to it, but
Okay.
I'll tell you a funny thing real quick is
Yeah.
when Justin Turner came to us in spring training, I was told we're going to sign this guy to a minor league contract, so we need a good number on his back. And I go, really? Okay. Well, that's cool. I'm glad you let me know. So I thought of 10 because at that point of spring training, the beginning of spring training, everything's taken. And so the first thing that he did when he came up to me, you're going to laugh, kind of embarrassing, but he asked me for number 2. And I'm like,
What?
do you realize who, I don't want to embarrass him. It's just, it was a funny thing at the time. And so, but number 10 looks so good on his back. I mean, I don't think we'll ever, I don't know what he's wearing in Boston, but it sure doesn't look like something that should be
it's
off his back.
Do you
it's
do you
too
ever
soon.
see them maybe doing a combo, retiring 10 for Ronce and Justin Turner?
No, I
Okay.
don't. The persona of the Fernando thing is a lot bigger than,
It's a completely different story, right?
yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
I agree.
Alicia, did you have something?
Are we done with the kickback?
I have two more, and then I'll throw it over to you. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just because one is he mentioned number 2, and for those of you young kids who are watching, going, "Who's number 2?" It's not only the greatest manager in the history of baseball, Tommy Lasorda. Whenever somebody wants to ask me what is a baseball manager, I just show them a picture of Tommy Lasorda.
Right,
I mean,
right.
there was recently a video that just went viral of Tommy just throwing F-bombs during the '77 World Series. You had interaction with Tommy, Mitch.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything that does justice, and will there ever be another Tommy Lasorda?
There'll never be another Tommy Lasorda. No, there will not. And in fact, one of the last things I told Tommy before he moved on in this world, um, I go, when you used to talk to the team and everything, you'd have a big meeting and whatever, and you wanted to get on them and whatever you needed to do, instructional wise. I don't know how many times it happened, but there's a closet at the end of the clubhouse, and it's got a slider door. And just before it would start, I'd jump in that closet and I'd slide the door and I'd listen to what was going on. So he goes, "You what?" I go, "Yeah, I did, Tommy." So, but he thought it was the funniest thing, and I regarded him as a friend. He's like one of those love-hate relationships, but I loved him, man.
That sounds like family,
Yeah,
right?
it pretty much is.
Before I throw it over to Alicia, this is the last one. For me, in 1988, obviously has great memories, but I became a Dodger fan because of Fernando Valenzuela. And in particular, my first Dodger memory is the 1985 NLCS. And you started working for the Dodgers in
Right,
1985.
right.
For those of you that are loyal listeners to the show, you guys know how traumatic 1985 NLCS was for me, and it's continued my trauma. Tom Niedenfuhr even came on the show and surprised me once to try to help me get over this trauma that I have of the 1985 NLCS.
How
That
nice
was
of
your
him.
that was your first year with that team.
Yeah.
Mitch, are you over the 1985 NLCS? And do you
No,
think if we could have won Game 6, we would have won Game 7?
I do. But I mean, we had no business losing that, and we were the better team, and the team that we would have had to face in a World Series would have beat them too. So, yeah, it's a piece of me. It was probably one of the lowest parts of my career, and it was my first year.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Is like Tom Niedenfuhr was a good sport for coming on the show, but it still hurts because my memory is seeing Pedro Guerrero throw his glove onto the field out in left
Yeah,
field after Jack Clark hit that ball into outer space, and
I was.
I'll
Yeah,
never forget that. Go ahead, Mitch.
I was with Pedro out there. He was my throwing mate. So I used to warm him up in between innings, and yeah, I saw it. I saw it firsthand.
Wow.
Alicia, you don't have any 1985 NLCS drama, do you?
I don't, and I feel your pain. I really do, guys. But because we have you here, Mitch, let's keep it light, just like the sunshine that you're sitting in this beautiful California weather. You just gave us one of your lowest memories of working for the Dodgers. What about one of your highest? What's your first thought? Your first memory? One of the
Well,
best memories.
everybody's gonna say it too. It's the 1988 Game 1 that Gibson hit the home run to win it all. So that's number one.
Wait. Okay, that's awesome. You're right. So many people say that. were you in the clubhouse when they had to go looking for Kirk Gibson to bring him back out?
I was in the clubhouse. I'm the one that ran into him in the training room where he was getting worked on, and I had to go pick up towels. I was making my rounds, and that you hear over the loudspeaker, you hear Vince Scully speaking on how we'll be without the services of Kirk Gibson tonight. And the minute he heard that, he goes, "Mitch, get my uniform." So I went and got his uniform, and he got dressed, and I just followed him around, and he goes, "Hey, can you get a bucket of balls and meet me down by the little net down there?" Because we didn't have a cage. We had a little net. The cage was all the way down where the bullpen was, and it's so far away from the action, by the club or the dugout. So anyway, he told me to go get him. So I got him, and I was standing there, and Ben Hines, our hitting coach, walked by. And Gibby just looks at him. He goes, "Hey, are you going to help me out here?" And he goes, "No, why don't you get Mitch to help you?" And we were behind in that game, and it was like nobody was real happy. So I go, "Sure, I'll help you." And so I put balls on a tee for him, and he showed me the location. And the scouting report said backdoor slider with a 3-2 count on Eckersley. And so I started doing that with him. And like halfway through, he goes, "I'm going to need you to put a little movement on it. So I'm not going to hit a ball that's just sitting there. So I need you to do some movement." So when we got done with that, I'm sitting on a bucket, and he's not doing anything but looking down at me. And he goes, "Mitch, this could be the script." Those were his exact words. And I'm like, I knew what he meant by that, but it's like, holy cow, this guy's just told me what he's going to do. And he goes, "I need you to go down and get Tommy." And I'm wearing a pair of cut-off jeans, and I'm wearing a Dodger T-shirt, and I run down there, and I'm screaming at Tommy as loud as I can because I don't want to get on camera wearing my Daisy Dukes out there or whatever. So anyway, I finally get Tommy's attention. He comes over, and he goes, what do you need? I'm trying to win a game out here." I go, "Tommy, Gibby says he get hit. You better go see him. He's up the ramp." And that started it all off. He went up there and talked to him, and I don't think they wanted Kirk to be out on the bench, but he had his helmet on. He had a bat in his hand, and he went out there, and he's just sitting there, and he's like twitching. He's like, you could tell he's getting into this. And but I stayed there with him. I was right down by the well there for the photo well, and Tommy's at the very end of the dugout. And so when Kirk moved towards the bat rack, grabbed his bat, walked out onto the on deck circle, the fans were already starting to go. You could already hear them. And I'm making this long, but I have to do it. So
No, I love it.
but it's like, yeah, it is history. But I could, during that time when he went out there, I started feeling things in my body. It's like, just my hair was starting to stand up, and I looked out to right field, and I'm thinking, man, that'd be incredible if he could hit it out to right field. And I'm just imagining this out to right field and dump it like in the first 10 rows or so, something like that. And he kept fouling balls off, so it was taking longer for me to get my dream going there. But but when he finally did connect with that, it was like it took the same path that I saw. And I didn't tell people for like 7-10 years after that fact that all this was going on, and I don't care who believes me or not. I don't care. But he was a very what do you call it? He would see things, and things would happen with Kirk, and it was like he visualized everything.
Wow.
And I was just happened to be visualizing what he was visualizing. And sure enough, that ball landed out there, and I go, I can't believe it. And like I said, I had goosebumps. I had my hair standing up, and every time I tell the story, though, it happens to me again.
Yeah, you were part of something really, really big, cosmic. I knew you were involved. I just didn't know all of those details. Thank you, Mitch. Oh my
Sure.
goodness.
There's some people that are tired of it. They're tired
Never.
of what I'm saying. So
I've
Never,
not heard
Mitch.
it. It
Never.
was my first time. It was my first
oh,
time.
good. That's
So
cool.
your name has been mentioned as being there with Kirk, but I did not know all of the details. I apologize that it's so.
No,
Hey, this is badass for me. Thank you, Mitch.
no,
I'm like,
that's cool.
and
Cool for me
Juan
too.
started this interview with calling you the hero. Hello.
Yeah. He is the hero of the Valenzuela story, so we should be painting murals of Mitch in Los Angeles. Mitch, we're going to end the show the way we always end the show, and this is going to be very important because now that we know you're a homie, not only are you a friend of the carne asada, but you're a homie, we need to know what is your favorite taco and where do you go in the city to get that taco?
You know, as far as like around the corner from Dodger Stadium, I'd say Guisado.
You like guisados? Which
I like
taco
Guisados.
which one do you get there?
I like the pork belly one.
The buche?
Yes.
All
I
right.
like that a lot, man.
All right.
It
Well, there you
it runs out of the tortilla onto your arm and down to your elbow, but it's good.
That's how you know it's good,
That's
Mitch.
right.
That
I
was
like
the
a
most
lot.
accurate description and review right there.
That's the
I
good
like a lot of
stuff.
Yeah.
So,
I
go ahead, Alicia.
I'm just gonna say that before, if we're truly letting you go, I have to ask about the painting that you showed us
Yes.
really quickly, because we're talking about artists and murals dedicated to the Poole family, right? Like, tell us about that painting. It's gorgeous.
In fact, I don't know if can you see it now?
You're freezing. There we go. Yeah, we got it right
Okay.
there, Mitch.
All right. So Courtney, she's pretty much painted about 140 paintings that
Wow.
are in my locker room right now, and they're signed by all the players that have come through there. You still see it? Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
But she's actually working on something right now, and she'd be embarrassed if I turned the camera to the window inside. But she spends a ton of times, and we're into horse racing too, so she does jockeys also.
That's awesome. I saw that. That's
So,
a
yeah.
whole other show if we're going to get into your horse racing.
Yeah, that would. I've got a filly right now that's pretty close to coming out, and
Hold on, let me
she's
write
being
down
broken.
the name. What's her name?
Okay, it's one word. Girl Can't Help It.
Oh, I
Okay.
like that.
It's a song by Journey, and it's Steve Perry actually wanted me to name one of my horses after one of his songs.
Oh,
And
wow.
I've known him for 20 years. I know he's a Giant fan, but that's all right.
That's okay. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect.
But if you guys go and look at Girl Can't Help It, look at the video. Randy Jackson from one of those contests, that American contest.
American Idol.
That's right. Yeah, he's actually playing the bass.
Oh, okay.
So, but
Right
yeah, he's got a big old
on.
mohawk. But no, I dabble with art too. I've sold pieces, and I should have some at Dodger Stadium this year. But I have sold some out of their art of the game, and my stuff's different. So, but my daughter's stuff, I love it because it's totally her, and her style is so different from anybody I know. So
Yeah, that Fernando painting is striking, and he looks happy.
yeah,
He
he's
can
happy.
be shy sometimes, so I love to see him with that big smile. I'm so grateful. I'm so happy this has finally happened. I don't think it's going to hit me until the actual ceremony in August. So thank you for joining us today, Mitch.
Oh, thank you, Lisa.
You're the best, Mitch. Thanks a lot. There you have it.
No,
Mitch Poole, the visiting clubhouse manager for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Thank you for having me.
And once again, a big thank you to the Dodgers visiting clubhouse manager, Mitch Poole, for joining us on the show. For those of you that have been watching and all of a sudden see that Alicia is no longer here, Alicia did need to leave. She's on assignment. So we're Babyface and I will wrap up. But so you guys are just worried. We didn't kick Alicia off. Alicia had to go on assignment. Anyways, Babyface, what did you take away from good old Mitch and all his Dodger stories?
Well, I mean, I think he's one of those guys, kind of like, he's another Dodger historian, right? From the time he's kind of been there. I mean, he has all these stories of just what goes on that we normally don't hear, from the Gibson stuff, right? And to him being the guy, right, literally responsible for not giving that number out because he knew what Fernando meant, what Fernando meant to this team, what he meant to the organization, to the city, right, to the fans, right. So he decided, you know what, that's it. That number's not being used anymore, and he is the guy that is responsible for that, and I think that's awesome.
I wasn't exaggerating when I call him the hero of the story because I mean, can you imagine the balls that it takes to make that decision? I mean, management could have very easily said, "Hey, why aren't you giving out this number? What if a player asked for it, before Manny, and maybe they make a big stink about it and go up to management and say, hey, this guy won't give me the number. I want 34, right? But for him to sit there and take it upon himself to be like, hey, I'm not going to do it, I think is just so ballsy. One of the things that I wonder, though, is if Mitch Poole wouldn't have taken that stance, and let's say they would have given out 34, do you think they would have retired it now? Because it got to the point where it was obvious no one was going to wear 34 anymore, right? So it was clearly that's Valenzuela's number, just retire it. But if more people would have started wearing 34, you kind of lose that argument, right? You can't any longer say, well, nobody wears it, so it's unofficially retired. So if it's unofficially retired, why don't you retire it? I mean, do you think if they would have given that number out, they still would have retired his jersey?
See, that's tough. I don't know. I mean, maybe if that number would have been in circulation, it kind of just been like, like, yeah, number probably. He kind of be like one of those other guys, like yeah, Garvey or Hershey. Yeah, we should retire those numbers, but it's not really like a big stink, right? It's like, it's out there, right? It's like, I remember, I think 11 Mota's number wasn't given out for a while too, and then it finally got into circulation, and it's been out there, right? And he even mentioned too when he gave 6 out that Steve Garvey kind of had, he kind of got upset, and so. Things started moving along, and now it's like, you see players with wearing 6, Trey Turner last year, the great Jerry Hairston, right, wore number 6. So it kind of just, I think it would have changed it. It would have been like, okay, you kind of get used to seeing it, right? It's like, it's not such a big deal, I think.
And that's why when everybody said the argument of it opens up a can of worms, look, we talked about this, with Fred Rogan, in the sense that this situation is different. Valenzuela is different. Like, Garvey is a great Dodger. Everyone's going to think of Garvey as a Dodger, but Garvey is not Valenzuela. I mean, what Valenzuela did, no matter how many times we try to explain it to you, to our audience, those who didn't grow up in Fernando Mania, it just doesn't do it justice. What I find really interesting in this sense is Mitch Poole is a real humble dude. If you watch that interview, this guy is just so ho-hum, and he's been around like giant moments in Dodger history, right? And for him, it's just a job, and it's almost like you're trying to pull the words out. Tell us more. Like, he feels like he's annoying people by telling these stories, and it's just like, bro, we want to hear this. Like, I think he should write that book. I think it would be a great book to read for him to hear those stories. I think it's funny. I'm sure people who hang around him a lot probably are tired of hearing the Gibson story. But those of us that don't hang around Mitch Poole, or there are people that are probably hearing that story for the first time, and then they want to hear, like Alicia. Alicia didn't know all the details when it comes to that story, but I just think it's so funny because I think that gives a perfect glimpse of who Mitch Poole is. The guy did this because he thought it was the right thing to do, and he didn't expect anything in return. Like, I'm going to be very curious to see if he's acknowledged during the ceremony when they retire his number. I mean, it's going to be 3 days. It's a whole series of honoring Valenzuela. I wonder if anyone is going to mention Mitch Poole's name and the fact that this guy decided, I'm not going to give the number out. And for him to recognize that immediately, like, we all know what Valenzuela means to the Latino community, right? We're Latinos. He is important. But Mitch Poole, even though he's an honorary homie, he lives in a Mexican neighborhood, like, for him to recognize that this is different, I think says a lot about Mitch Poole, and maybe we just need more Mitch Pooles in this world.
Yeah. And just real quick, going back to Garvey, that number 6, I do believe eventually will get retired. I don't know if it'd be the same route. I think Garvey obviously has a much better case of still getting, I think personally, to get into the Hall of Fame that Valenzuela would. You know, Garvey still has, where they do the players committee, right? I think Garvey can get in. Eventually, he can get in and rightfully take his place in the Hall of Fame, and then that number will eventually be retired.
So you think that's how they would do it if Garvey gets in through the Veterans Committee, because that's his only route, right? Is the Veterans Committee?
Yeah, I mean, just like Gil Hodges, right? Like
like Gil Hodges,
yeah. So I think. I mean, the Padres retired Garvey's number, right? And how many seasons did he play there? Like 3 years, right?
2 seasons. I think
they got to the World Series and they retired his number. So, that seems kind of odd, right? Like, I mean, what did he really do in San Diego, right? Like, and compared to what he did in LA.
Well, I mean, he got him to a World Series.
Well, yeah. I mean, they lost, right?
They lost, but he got him to a World Series.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. Obviously, his contributions to the Dodgers are greater than that of the show pods.
Yeah. I mean, I think, like I said, I think eventually his number will get retired because I think he will get into the Hall of Fame one day. I think one day he'll eventually get in.
Yeah, I mean, so it's just interesting. We wanted to have Mitch Poole on because I had heard that story before. And when the Dodgers announced that they were finally going to retire Valenzuela's jersey, I thought about Mitch Poole. And so I told Babyface, I was like, let's get Mitch Poole on. I really want to find out how this happened. Because, I mean, it's for years this went on that everybody knew nobody wore 34 on the Dodgers. So technically it's unofficially. And then we started hearing the stories like Manny Ramirez asking for number 34. And I can't stress enough. I mean, for those of you that have seen our Valenzuela celebration episode, I mean, there's younger guys who didn't grow up in LA, guys who aren't aware of Fernando Valenzuela. Maybe they're not historians. It's important now that this number is retired because we can talk about Fernando Valenzuela. And as Eric Carroll's friend of the Carne Asada said, Mexican Americans are a huge part of the fan base for the Dodgers, and Valenzuela is responsible for that. So, again, I just cannot get over the humility of Mitch Poole, and it is so obvious that Valenzuela is important to him. If you see him, he decided. Now, we didn't ask him to set up that background the way he did. He had that Valenzuela jersey out there. He did it all on himself. So it is obvious that this man has an affinity for Valenzuela, and it's the small things like guys like Mitch Poole that I think made this moment possible. If I honestly believe if they would have given out 34 immediately once he left the Dodgers, I mean, it took this long to get his number retired. Can you imagine how much longer it would have taken to retire that number if you would have seen? Or what if there was another Dodger who all of a sudden wore 34 and did really good? You know, I mean, we already have that with the number 10. You know, we have Ron Say, and then we have Justin Turner. So, depending on where you grew up, if you say the number 10, who do you think of as a Dodger? For me, I now associate 10 with Justin Turner. But I know that there's people that associate 10 with Ron Say.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I was a little worried, this offseason, right, when they signed Syndergaard, and I saw that 34 was listed on the roster on the website. I'm like, it's kind of weird, right? Like, just that they would put that number on there on a player, like, even just, I don't even think by error. Like, it just seemed weird to me, like, that. Why would they put 34? And then I started thinking, well, Syndergaard, he's born that his whole career with the Mets, right? And then the thing that really made me think, like, oh, this guy wants 34 is he signed with the Angels last offseason, and he got 34, and they hadn't given 34 since Nick Aidenhart passed away like 10 years ago, right? Nobody had worn 34 with the Angels, and they issued it to him. So I'm like, oh man, Angels issued him 34. Like, would the Dodgers do that? It says it on the website. So I was a little worried. I was honestly a little worried that they were actually going to say, you know what? You want the number? If it means that much to you, here it is.
And that's maybe if we ever get a chance to talk to the Dodgers home clubhouse manager, that's what I want to know. Or maybe if we even talk to Thor himself, that would be one of my first questions. Did you ask for 34? Were you aware what you were doing? I mean, Jerry Hairston has told us multiple times that he would never in his right mind ask for 34 because 34 is Fernando Valenzuela. But again, there may be guys who don't know Dodgers history, and to them, hey, 34 is my number. I don't care about Fernando Valenzuela. But when you get educated here, I think once you play here, I think especially guys who aren't from LA, I think it becomes very clear to them who runs this town and who, in terms of Dodger fans. And I think to some of them, it becomes a shock to their system. But I'm very curious to see one day. Maybe, hopefully, we'll have Thor on the show this year, and we'll find out if he asked for 34 and why he backed down. I wonder if the Dodgers had told him, you can't wear 34. We're going to retire it this year. Like, how early was this decision made? Is this something that they saved specifically for this year? Because they retired Gil Hodges' number last year. I don't know. I still can't figure out the timing of it all. Why now all of a sudden to do it? But those are good things to have. And I'm just glad that Mitch, as you can see, he was a very shy guy. I don't feel like he likes calling attention to himself. But for me, he really is the hero. And I hope he gets some sort of acknowledgement during the ceremony that he took it upon himself to make sure that we honor Valenzuela's accomplishments one way or another, because being put up in that Legends of Dodger Baseball, and then they constantly play the clips, I don't think it has the same impact of when you sit in your seat in that stadium and you can see those numbers retired. That to me is a stronger impact.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a different feeling, I think, right? Like when, like you said, they play those video clips, right? And they'll show, Fernando, his debut, and then they always show like his no hitter, right? Yeah. And then they'll show him on the up in the booth right now.
Yeah.
Now they're going to do all that, and then they're going to pan to the retired numbers, and you're going to see 34 there. I mean, that's a different feeling.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that's going to do it for this episode. Babyface, do you have any closing thoughts on the fact that we had the campaign to retire 34, and now we can finally say 34 is retired?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I mean, we had big plans this year to make this a reality. What had happened, right? We were going to push it as hard as we could this year. And thankfully we didn't have to do that anymore. It's retired, so it's all good.
It's all good. So once again, this is the part of the show where I remind you guys, subscribe to the podcast. For those of you who have discovered us, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to it. That way you can catch all our new episodes. We have a great episode earlier this week in celebrating the retirement of Fernando Valenzuela, but catch up on past episodes. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can watch all these episodes on our YouTube. We also have exclusive YouTube content, so subscribe so you can see that stuff. We have an interview with James Outman. We have an interview with Sam Bloom. We have some great YouTube exclusive videos. Subscribe. For this episode of the Bleed Loss Podcast, yo ha sido su servidor, Juan Ramírez, de parte de mi colega Babyface. This episode of the Bleed Loss Podcast has been presented by betonline.ag. Nos vemos para la próxima.